Hey, what's happening, folks? How y'all doing? And this here, of course, is my quick thoughts on this plane over here. It's the E-Flite X-Vert, which I had this plane since I could say almost the middle of the summer when it came out and whatnot. And here I share my quick thoughts on the plane and whatnot, and also right after this you'll see some FPV flight video, because this plane is pretty much being ready to get stripped. Now I got this plane because I, for one, had not done FPV since late last summer and whatnot, and I saw advertisements to this plane regarding how it does the transition for VTOL, vertical takeoff and landings and whatnot, and I was curious about it. When I first got it, wasn't very happy right out the gate because I have a Taranis radio and I have to use a DM9 module for it, and it took a while to figure out where the arming switch was going to be and everything like that to get it to work the right way. My uncle helped me out a lot with that to get it working. And I don't have I know some people might say, I know there's a video on YouTube that has the new firmware for the Taranis, in which you can use a DSMX modified module. That you can get real DSMX and real DSM2, no PPM bullshit or whatnot. Pardon my French and such. But I didn't have that firmware. I used what I had, and for the most part it worked. I didn't notice any problem. The biggest problem I have is that every now and then, like if I don't fly it for about a week, or the following, I fly every weekend. If I don't fly it about a week, I always got to rebind it again and such, which gets very aggravating at times and such. Right out the gate, when I did the first flight with it in airplane mode, I had a problem. The plane was constantly flying out of trim in any throttle motion or whatnot. And my uncle had to do this thing where it said in the manual, after a couple of hits and bangs I've had with it, to bend one of these rods a certain way to keep it from banking. So really, trimming in the end of the day really isn't for this plane, because I have one video up you might see where I flew it line of sight and that plane was badly out of trim and whatnot, so it kept me from having any fun with it. So had it like that a few times, got it flying okay, running a 2S Barity with it. It was alright, you know. It's just once it is with a 2S Barity pack, you don't have that instant or too much of that strong power to pull you out of stunts or whatnot, so you got to gain some altitude and whatnot. I do like the idea that this thing has differential thrust, so you get some yaw movement, which in the movie, sorry, not the movie, I mean the plane has differential thrust, so you could turn using a rudder or yaw, which is very good introduction to have. It has 3 flight modes, multi-rotor mode, the stabilization airplane mode, and the acro mode. The multi-rotor mode is nice to play with in the house, so you're gonna play with this in the house, it's good for that. Airplane stable mode is very unpredictable. The only thing I can say good about that is when you transition from the multi-rotor to the airplane mode, it smooths out the transition a little bit, though it has a little bit of porpoising. But every once in a while when I try to fly in stabilization mode, it works. Today, for some reason, my stabilization mode didn't want to work too well. It was just very sluggish, to a point I almost lost it trying to get it out of the small area I was flying in. Acro mode is where I had to fly this plane in. The problems I have with this plane is, I mean, it's taken a couple of hits now and then. I mean, since the middle of the summer I've had it, I've put a lot of glue into this and whatnot. These have broken multiple times and whatnot. I think on this side alone, I don't know if this is, no, this is actually side, actually it takes most of the hits. I've gooped a spot in here, that piece is gone. Had another spot in here. I've broken this just by trying to change the prop. really. I mean, these are not, these are the after, these are regular multi-rotor props. Once again, there's a video that this nice guy on here, Night Flyer, Dave, very nice guy. He talked about on a video how he modified this to put regular multi-rotor props, and they do take a beating. I mean, they break, they bend. It is hard to take out the propeller without breaking this, because this breaks very easy. Because when you take it out, you got to put a needle nose pliers in the shaft, get a tiny ass screwdriver, you can find one, and try to get it in there. And I stripped a bunch of screws doing that and everything. I did a recommendation that somebody had recommended on YouTube of putting some packing tape here, because these do break off after a while, and I noticed some was breaking off. The decal sticker that came with it chipped off very easy. I took some, basically some permanent marker, and just traced it out. I mean, I don't know if it held up or was eaten by the foam. I don't care at this point. I mean, today's flight, I mean, I did FPV with this before. I did have a video up before with it, but I wasn't happy with the video because really it was nothing to it, just an indoor flight in multi-rotor mode, which multi-rotor mode is good for this plane if you're learning, if you're getting into quadcopters or whatnot. It's a good training tool for it, you know, if you want to do that. But if you're like me and you already know how to fly and you're already used to flying in acro mode and multi-rotor mode, like with my quadcopters and whatnot, then really it's not helpful, to be honest. It just feels like a big crutch in your weight and such and everything. But novelty for flying it in the house, okay, that means good for that. Well, I took this FPV outside at my job last time I did it and wasn't too happy with it, because once again, if you get into a steep angle and whatnot, because it does have AS3X on it, even when I had stabilization mode, you try to pull up, it doesn't pull up quickly because the lack of power with the 2S battery pack and whatnot. It doesn't give you that quick grab. Like if this was maybe 3S or maybe even a 4S, granted I don't think you need that much speed, but enough that it could grab it, it'd be great. I mean, something for Horizon to think about. The camera pretty much is the camera that's on the Blade Torrent. It's a decent camera. I mean, I did take it out today, but you're gonna see the footage in a minute. It's just on a cloudy day, adjusting from low light to high light, you might see it dark a little bit. I mean, I have yet to try this on a sunny day. I imagine on a sunny day it'd probably be a little more better. The video, the VTX on this is pretty good. It uses the dipole antenna, which I really like this. I'm gonna probably get more of these in the future and whatnot, because it doesn't break or whatnot. It takes a couple of hits and such. And overall, the camera is okay for what its quality is. Servo, already you've seen I did a crash study, which you're going to see in the video coming up. But this plane is going to be stripped because overall, I mean, I'm not very happy with the plane. I mean, if you're going to get this plane, I would suggest once it starts getting beat up like this, I mean, people might say it looks fixable because it's got a little crack right here, and of course that broken part over here, which was a piece I glued before, it broke off at the same piece. Here's what's left of the door. I have glued the door before, but the bottom piece broke off, as you see right over here. And of course this was left of that wingtip. You can see it right there and such. I did put some packing tape here to help out with, I guess, knife edge, or helps the yaw keep from coupling a little bit. I mean, today's flight was a little bit more better. It's just this thing is very temperamental when it comes to wind. Even if I fly without the goggles and slight breeze will come, it will wobble like crazy, even with stabilization mode and such. Other than that, I mean, the plane, it's there. I mean, it leaves a lot to be desired, in my humble opinion. I mean, if you want a beginner plane, you play around with for a while. I mean, it did take a couple of hits before it finally cracked and whatnot. So putting glue on this, I have a feeling is going to make the plane more heavier now. So my uncle actually, we have some EPP foam laying around, and he's going to cut out a whole new wing, same size and whatnot. The only thing I'm not too crazy about this also is the flight controller by Unique. Is that there's no way you could plug it in to program it, to tune it. Like if you want to take off some of the stabilization or take off a little bit of this or give you something you can play with. And when you make the transition, I disagree with what they say in the box. Is VTOL made easy? It's not easy when you want to transition, because you gotta make sure when you transition, right, that you pop it straight up. Right? Now this is easy to do if you don't got no goggles on. Alright, if you got no goggles on and you're gonna transition straight up, you keep the wings level and you hit multi-rotor mode, okay, it'll transition. But if you have goggles on and you're not too familiar with your horizon or whatnot, you gotta do it quickly because it does move pretty fast when you're in airplane mode. If you go a little bit on an angle like this, like what happened today, it would just wobble like this like crazy, go inverted, and then boom, right to the ground. Well, like it happens to me a few times. If I transition crooked, it'll just go in a circular motion, and crash. So it's really not VTOL made easy. You got to be right on the money, straight up. If you're not right on the money straight up, you're screwed. So I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm not too crazy about the flight controller. I mean, I'll hold on. I'm taking out the mechanics out of this because you're not going to see this fly again. I mean, you're going to see the video of it in a few seconds. But overall, I'm pretty disappointed with the airplane. I mean, it lasted a while. It took a couple of hits. But in the end of the day, I suggest you guys just get a regular FPV wing. Flight, you're going to see it right now, which I'm delaying it. I'm sorry. You know, it was okay. I mean, I had a few scrapes in the beginning. But anyway, you'll see it now. But overall, I suggest you guys take a pass on the plane. If you like the plane, that's cool, but me, I just wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. So stay tuned for the flight footage, and thank you for hearing my thoughts on the plane.